you. Time and again, I've opposed apartments and densification in District 1. I have beaten back excessively dense, poor quality redevelopment proposals all along Ashford Dunwoody Road, many before they ever became public, by sending a strong message to developers about what we require in District 1 in the city of Brookhaven, and that the bar is high. The vast majority of District 1 is single-family residential, and you and I all oppose development that will negatively impact our neighborhoods, believe me. Now, I know that there's opposition to this multipurpose development, and I understand it. But sometimes, as elected officials, we have to have the courage to do the right thing, even in the face of some opposition. And this AMLI mixed-use development is the right thing to do. Ultimately, this development it's consistent with the PCID character area and with what we all know about urban planning, which is that traffic and lifestyle are helped and not hurt by multipurpose developments. AMLI will allow employees who work at Perimeter Summit to live near where they work with minimal negative impacts to District 1. And AMLI, frankly, and these folks are top quality developers. This particular multipurpose development will provide an opportunity that doesn't currently exist at Perimeter, in that this multipurpose development is not just apartment homes of various sizes, although it is, but it's also retail, 5 acres of green space with walking trails right there by the office buildings. That's a whole lifestyle, live, work, play community. And that opportunity doesn't currently exist in that form in that entire area. It will also provide that same opportunity for 10% of folks in workforce housing, which is a very valuable addition to our city's housing market. I think, and I know from having watched the entire 2-hour Planning Commission consideration of this matter, that these are the reasons why our Planning Commission recommended it unanimously. And our Planning Commission is comprised of volunteer citizens from all across the city with only the best interest of Brookhaven at heart. There's nothing in it for them. And they go and put tremendous time into this kind of work and review, for which they have the deep appreciation from all of us on City Council and the mayor as well. They delve deeply into these proposed rezonings, especially a big one like this, and they carefully vet it down to the details. And then they hold their own public hearing, which has already happened. And then they voted for a recommendation of this to City Council. And in this case, their support of this particular project, as I said, was unanimous. And they know it as well as anyone on the city side. However, those of you who have contacted me, really only over the past couple of days, with concerns or opposition, I want you to know that I heard you. Time was short, but I heard you. I read every one of your communications. I listened to you. I returned your phone calls. And I have worked to address the concerns, and I want to share with you specifically the areas of concern and how I feel that they are addressed. I'd like to begin with the petition that was circulated. There was a petition that was circulated and signatures were garnered. Now, unfortunately, the petition itself represented this project as just a big apartment complex for the most part. And it also contained what you have all heard tonight was false information. The developer did have the required meetings. The petition said they didn't. You know, not only was that obligation for public meetings met, but this proposed project has been extensively covered in the media. There was no sneaking this up on the citizens of Brookhaven. It's been featured with the plan printed in the Brookhaven Reporter, not once, but twice. Once in early September, and then later in November, it was featured in the Atlanta Business Chronicle and all sorts of other media. So this was not in any way swept under the rug, and it did not fly under the radar. After that, it was advertised and heard by the Planning Commission with an opportunity for public hearing that no one opposed. And I do understand that there's a lot to keep up with nowadays, and certainly a lot in a city as busy as our city of Brookhaven. But this project was not shielded from the public. However, I do think it's a bit unreasonable to expect a developer to reach out to a community 2 miles away, specifically to that community. There are several other communities, many other communities within 2 miles of this development, and neither the law nor reason requires a developer to reach out to all of those when the project is as public and as covered in the media as this one. I'd like to address the concerns about traffic. The traffic issues raised by this development were subject to a DRI review, and I want to make sure everybody knows that. DRI is a development of regional impact. That means it's a big deal development, it's a big development, and a lot of eyes, a lot of educated eyes go into the traffic study. This was a traffic study conducted by the Atlanta Regional Commission, the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority, the City of Brookhaven, and the PCID also participates in that. And it was studied at great length, and there is, of course, no question that there will be some traffic impact. But I want to quote this because the ultimate finding of that traffic study, those traffic studies, plural, was that, quote, the traffic generated by this proposed development will be less than the existing office building, and much less than the office building that is allowed under the current zoning designation during the peak travel times. So on City Council, we can't plan for next year. We have to plan for the years and years ahead, the decade and beyond. And this is going to be better for traffic purposes than the other alternatives for this site. And that played no small role in my support. Finally, the traffic study did include the intersection of Ashford Dunwoody Road and Oak Forest, what we call the Oak Forest intersection, which on the other side is Perimeter Summit Boulevard. It concluded that the development will be required to put in a second left turn lane on Perimeter Center Boulevard so that left turning vehicles can turn left there to go from Perimeter Summit Boulevard onto Ashford Dunwoody Road to get on 285 East. The traffic study requires that change because that's the anticipated route of traffic, not straight on Oak Forest, according to the traffic study. All right, the next concern I'd like to address is more difficult, and that is our schools. And we're all concerned about our schools. DeKalb County Schools, as you heard, projects up to possibly 11 elementary school students that would be directed into Montgomery Elementary. I can tell you, because I looked into this before our meeting tonight, that those estimates that the schools give are widely believed to be very overestimated. The estimate for town Brookhaven was very significant when it was built, and there have been years when there have been 0 children in the DeKalb County school system from town Brookhaven. And it is also true that there is a new 950 student elementary school that has just been announced for the Chamblee and Dunwoody clusters at I-285 and Chamblee Dunwoody Road. The reality, however, is that DeKalb County schools are overcrowded. And in speaking about this to our DeKalb County Board of Education member, Stan Jester, and it is also true that basic truth is not expected to change in the foreseeable future. I'd also like to address concerns that were raised to me about increased usage of Murphy-Candler Park. Now, Murphy-Candler Park is, of course, it's a public park. And the entire purpose of a wonderful public park like Murphy-Candler is to attract residents to come and enjoy the park and its lake and its amenities. And the number of people who do so over time is going to increase. And that's why it's important in our park planning, and has been important in our park planning, that we plan not for today, but for the future with regard to usage and parking and capacity. And that's why the master plan for Murphy Candler Park is what it is, and it does achieve those goals. Finally, I'd like to address the concerns that have been raised to me about this being apartments instead of townhomes. Now, townhomes, when people use that term, they're of course meaning units occupied by owners instead of renters. And I was bluntly told by a community leader that townhomes would attract a different kind of resident. One community leader even characterized this proposed development as being like a HUD public housing project. I am deeply disturbed by that kind of rhetoric in our community, and it must stop. It must. All kinds of people love Brookhaven, and all kinds of people want to live in Brookhaven, and that diversity enriches our community, and it enriches us, each of us. So when we can accommodate the demand of people who want to live in Brookhaven, as we can with a live, work, play community like Perimeter Summit, I believe we should welcome our new neighbors. I hope you'll join me.
Thank you, Linley. Anyone else would like to speak?